Vivian Clark had always believed that invisibility was a superpower. At 24, she had perfected the art of blending into the background, moving through the marble hallways of the Grandeur Hotel like a whisper. As a night auditor, she worked when the world slept, balancing accounts and managing the quiet chaos that unfolded after midnight in one of Manhattan's most exclusive hotels. The hotel itself was a monument to wealth. Crystal chandeliers hung from vaulted ceilings, casting prismatic light across imported Italian marble. Persian rugs muffled footsteps, and the air always carried the subtle scent of expensive perfume mixed with the fresh flowers that were replaced daily in every hallway. Vivian's uniform was simple, professional, a navy blazer, cream blouse, and black trousers. She wore her auburn hair pulled back in a tight bun, minimal makeup, and sensible shoes that made no sound as she walked. Her goal each night was the same: complete her work efficiently and remain unnoticed. The man who noticed everything was a Thursday in late September when Damien Hartwell first walked into the lobby at 2 a.m. Vivian was behind the front desk, reconciling the day's transactions on her computer, when she felt the air shift. She looked up and found herself staring at a man who commanded attention without trying. He was tall, icily, over 6 feet, with dark hair styled in a way that suggested both money and carelessness. His suit was custom-tailored, probably Italian, and his shoes were polished to a mirror shine. But it was his face that caught her off guard. Sharp jawline, intense blue eyes that seemed to see everything, and an expression of perpetual displeasure. As if the world continually disappointed him, Damien Hartwell walked directly to the desk, his presence filling the space around him. Vivian straightened instinctively, her heart beating faster for reasons she could not explain. "Good evening, Mr. Hartwell," she said, recognizing him from the guest list. He owned the penthouse suite on the 42nd floor and had been staying at the hotel for the past 3 weeks. "How may I assist you?" His eyes swept over her, assessing, calculating. "You're new." It was not a question. Vivian felt her cheeks warm slightly. "I've been working night audit for 6 months, sir." "Then you're excellent at being invisible," he said. There was something in his tone that made it sound like both an observation and a challenge. "I notice everything, and I haven't noticed you." Vivian was unsure how to respond. Was this an insult or a compliment? She settled for professionalism. "I prefer to let the hotel speak for itself rather than draw attention to the staff." A slight smile touched his lips, the first break in his severe expression. "Diplomatic. What's your name?" "Vivian Clark." "French name." "Are you French?" "My grandmother was—" "I'm from New Jersey." He leaned against the desk, studying her with an intensity that made her want to look away. But something stubborn in her refused. She met his gaze steadily, even as her pulse quickened. "New Jersey," he repeated, as if tasting the words. "How does someone from New Jersey end up working night audit at the Grandeur?" Vivian considered lying, offering some sanitized version of her story. But something in his directness made her answer honestly. "I needed a job that would let me take classes during the day. I'm finishing my degree in accounting, practical, necessary." The invitation Damien straightened, pulling a business card from his jacket pocket. He placed it on the desk between them. "I'm hosting a small gathering in my suite tomorrow evening. I need someone to coordinate with the catering staff and ensure everything runs smoothly. Are you available?" Vivian glanced at the card. Hartwell Development Corporation, President and CEO. "Mr. Hartwell, I appreciate the offer, but coordinating private events isn't part of my job description. I can connect you with our events team." "I don't want the events team. I want someone competent who understands discretion." His eyes locked on hers. "I'm willing to compensate you separately. $2,000 for 4 hours of work." Vivian's breath caught. $2,000 was nearly a month's rent. It was groceries for 2 months. It was the difference between barely surviving and having a small cushion. But every instinct told her that accepting money from this man would complicate her life in ways she could not predict. "It's very generous, but I'll have to decline." Damien's expression shifted, something like surprise flickering across his features. "You're refusing?" "I don't mix my professional duties with private arrangements. It creates complications." He studied her for a long moment, and Vivian had the uncomfortable sensation of being dissected, examined, and catalogued. Then he picked up the business card and wrote something on the back before placing it down again. The offer stands until tomorrow at noon. He turned and walked toward the elevators, leaving Vivian alone with her racing thoughts and the business card on the desk. She picked it up and flipped it over. On the back, he had written a phone number and a single word: courage. The decision the rest of Vivian's shift passed in a blur. She completed her audit, prepared the morning reports, and handed off to the day shift at 7. But her mind kept returning to Damien Hartwell and his unexpected offer: $2,000. The number haunted her as she rode the subway back to her shared apartment in Queens. It followed her as she climbed the 3 flights of stairs to the cramped 2-bedroom she split with her roommate, Jessica. A nursing student who worked equally exhausting hours, Vivian collapsed onto her bed without changing clothes, staring at the water-stained ceiling. She thought about her student loans, the medical bills from her brother's accident last year that she was still paying off, the constant anxiety of living paycheck to paycheck. But she also thought about the way Damien Hartwell had looked at her. Not through her, as most wealthy guests did, but at her, as if he actually saw her as a person rather than a service provider. That should have been flattering. Instead, it terrified her. Vivian stood outside the penthouse suite at exactly 6 in the evening, wearing the only professional dress she owned. It was simple black, purchased from a discount store 3 years ago, but it was clean and pressed. She had called the number on Damien's card that morning, telling herself it was just one night, just one job. The money would solve so many problems. The door opened before she could knock. Damien stood there in dark slacks and a white shirt with rolled sleeves, looking somehow more dangerous without the armor of his suit jacket. His blue eyes swept over her, and something flickered in their depths. "You came." "I need the money," Vivian said honestly, stepping inside when he moved aside. "Let's not pretend this is anything else." The penthouse was breathtaking. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city. Modern furniture in shades of gray and black created clean lines throughout the space. Everything was expensive, tasteful, and utterly impersonal, as if no one actually lived there. "The catering staff will arrive at 7, Damien said, handing her a folder. "There are 12 guests. The menu and seating arrangements are in there. I need you to ensure everything flows smoothly. Answer any questions the staff have. Make sure glasses stay filled and courses are timed properly." Vivian opened the folder, scanning the details. This looks straightforward. Who are the guests? Business associates, investors, people who expect perfection? He paused. "My sister will also be attending." Something in his tone made her look up. Is that a warning? Rebecca can be difficult. Don't take anything she says personally. The evening began smoothly. The catering staff arrived with military precision, transforming the kitchen into an efficient operation. Vivian coordinated with the head chef, ensured the dining table was set perfectly, and reviewed the wine pairings. When the guests began arriving at 8, Vivian positioned herself discreetly near the kitchen, ready to assist but out of sight. She watched Damien transform into the perfect host, charming, confident, commanding the room effortlessly. These were powerful people, she realized. Developers, investors, politicians. They spoke in millions as easily as others discussed the weather. Rebecca's arrival? Rebecca Hartwell arrived last, making an entrance that demanded attention. She was beautiful in a sharp, polished wave-blonde hair and a perfect bob. Designer dress that probably cost more than Vivian's entire wardrobe, heels that added inches to her already tall frame. But it was her eyes that struck Vivian. They were the same piercing blue as her brother's, but colder somehow. More calculating. Rebecca's gaze found Vivian almost immediately. She crossed the room with deliberate steps. "And who are you?" Rebecca asked, her tone making it clear Vivian was an unwelcome curiosity. "I'm coordinating this evening for Mr. Hartwell." Coordinating. Rebecca's smile did not reach her eyes. How nice. "Did my brother hire you from the hotel?" "Yes." He does have a weakness for projects." Rebecca leaned closer, her voice dropping. A word of advice. Whatever you think is happening here, you're wrong. Damien doesn't date staff. He doesn't date anyone who can't match him socially and financially. So don't get ideas. Vivian felt her cheeks burn, but she kept her expression neutral. I'm here to work, Miss Hartwell, nothing more. Good, keep it that way. Rebecca swept away to join the other guests, leaving Vivian shaken. She retreated to the kitchen, focusing on her tasks, trying to ignore the tightness in her chest. The unexpected moment dinner proceeded flawlessly. Courses were timed perfectly. Wine flowed and conversation buzzed with deals and strategies Vivian barely understood. She remained invisible, exactly as she intended. But as dessert was being cleared, one of the guests spilled red wine across the white tablecloth. Vivian moved quickly, bringing fresh linens and helping to clean the mess while the catering staff set up coffee service in the living area. She was on her knees, blotting the carpet where some wine had dripped, when she heard Damien's voice above her. Leave it. The cleaning service will handle it tomorrow. Vivian looked up to find him standing over her, hand extended. She hesitated, then took it, letting him pull her to her feet. His hand was warm, his grip firm. You've done excellent work tonight, he said quietly. Thank you. That's what you're paying me for, is it? His thumb brushed across her knuckles before he released her hand. I think you do everything excellently, regardless of payment. Vivian's breath caught. There was something in his gaze that made her forget where they were, forget the guests in the next room, forget every warning her common sense was screaming. Mr. Hartwell, Damien. When we're alone, call me Damien. We're not alone, and we should fix that. He took a step closer, and Vivian found herself backed against the dining table. Have dinner with me. Tomorrow, just the two of us.
That's not appropriate.
I don't care about appropriate. I care about getting to know you. Vivian's heart was racing. Every instinct told her to refuse, to maintain the professional distance that kept her safe. But there was something in his intensity, something in the way he looked at her as if she was the only person who mattered, that made her want to say yes. Why me? She asked quietly. You could have anyone, 'cause you're real, because you're honest. Because when I look at you, I don't see someone trying to use me or impress me or manipulate me. His hand came up, fingers brushing her cheek so gently it might have been imagined. I see someone who sees through all of this and isn't impressed by any of it, and I find that terrifying and irresistible. The interruption, how touching, they sprang apart. Rebecca stood in the doorway, arms crossed, expression triumphant. The guests are leaving, Damien. You should say goodbye. Her eyes shifted to Vivian, cold and assessing. And you should probably go. Your work here is finished. Damien's jaw tightened. Rebecca, I'll handle the goodbyes. You're clearly busy. She turned on her heel and walked away. An uncomfortable silence settled between them. Vivian smoothed her dress, trying to regain her composure. I should go, she said, not meeting his eyes. Vivian. He caught her hand. Tomorrow, dinner, please. She looked at him, at this man who was so far outside her world it was almost laughable. She thought about his sister's warning, about the impossibility of whatever this was, about all the reasons she should walk away. But she also thought about how he made her feel seen. Truly seen, for the first time in her life. Where? She heard herself ask. Relief flooded his features. I'll pick you up at 7. Text me your address. As Vivian rode the subway home that night, $2,000 richer and infinitely more confused, she wondered what she had just agreed to. But beneath the worry was something else. Excitement, hope, the terrifying possibility that maybe, just maybe, her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. She did not know that in the penthouse she had just left, Rebecca was already making phone calls, already digging into Vivian's background, already plotting to destroy whatever was beginning to bloom between her brother and the girl from New Jersey who dared to capture his attention. The game had begun, and Vivian did not even know she was playing. Vivian spent the entire next day in a state of nervous anticipation. She attended her morning accounting class, but absorbed nothing. She tried to study at the library, but found herself staring at the same page for 20 minutes. Finally, she gave up and went home to prepare for the evening. Jessica found her standing in front of their shared closet, surrounded by rejected outfits. Hot date. Her roommate asked, grinning, maybe, I don't know. It's complicated. The best ones always are. But as evening approached, Vivian's phone rang with an unknown number. Her stomach dropped even before she answered. Vivian Clark. A woman's voice, professional and cold. Yes. This is Rebecca Hartwell. I think we should meet before you see my brother tonight. The meeting they met at a cafe 3 blocks from Vivian's apartment. Rebecca was already seated at a corner table when Vivian arrived, looking impeccable in a tailored suit. Sit, Rebecca commanded. Gesturing to the chair across from her, Vivian sat, her defenses rising. What is this about? Rebecca slid a manila folder across the table. Open it. Side were documents. Medical records. Financial statements. Court papers. All bearing Vivian's name, all detailing the struggle of her life in harsh black and white. Her brother Thomas's accident 2 years ago. The medical debt. Her student loans. Her childhood in foster care after her parents died in a car crash when she was 12. How did you get these? Vivian's voice shook with anger. Money opens doors. I needed to know who was trying to manipulate my brother. I'm not manipulating anyone. Really? Rebecca leaned back, her expression calculating. You're drowning in debt. Barely making ends meet. And suddenly the wealthiest man you've ever met takes an interest in you. Quite the coincidence. Vivian stood, fury overriding her usual caution. You know nothing about me. Nothing about my life or my choices. I know you're nobody, Rebecca said coldly. And Damien will realize that soon enough. I'm trying to save you both time and embarrassment. Walk away now, and I'll make sure your brother's medical debt disappears. Stay, and I'll destroy any chance you have at the life you're building. The choice Vivian left the cafe shaking with rage and humiliation. She walked aimlessly for an hour, Rebecca's threat echoing in her mind. Finally, she found herself sitting on a bench in a small park. Watching children play as evening shadows lengthened, her phone buzzed. Damien. On my way? Can't wait to see you? She should cancel. She should text him right now and end whatever this was before it destroyed her. But another text came through before she could decide. This one from her brother Thomas. Hey sis! The hospital called. They said there was an error in my account and my debt has been cleared. Did you do something? This is incredible. Vivian's hands trembled as she read the message again. Rebecca had already paid off the debt, already set her trap. Accept the gift and walk away, or refuse it and face whatever consequences came. A shadow fell across her. She looked up to find Damien standing there, concern etched on his face. Vivian. What's wrong? She stood, decision made. Your sister came to see me today. She paid off my brother's medical debt and told me to stay away from you. Damien's expression darkened. That interfering let me finish. Vivian took a breath. She showed me how she investigated me, how she thinks I'm using you. And I want you to know something. She met his eyes steadily. I don't want your money. I don't want your connections. I don't even know if I want this, whatever this is, because it scares me how much I feel when I'm around you. Then why did you agree to dinner? Because for the first time in years, someone looked at me and saw me. Not my circumstances, not my usefulness, just me. Tears pricked her eyes. But I can't do this if you think I'm after something. I won't be someone's project or charity case. Damien closed the distance between them, his hands framing her face with surprising gentleness. You're not a project. You're not charity. You're the first real thing I've found in a world full of fakes and users. His thumbs brushed away tears she had not realized were falling. My sister is wrong about you. She's wrong about us. There is no us yet. Let's find out if there could be. Pull back slightly. But first, I need to fix something. The confrontation, 30 minutes later, they stood in Rebecca's elegant Upper East Side apartment. She answered the door with barely concealed annoyance.
Damien.
I'm surprised you're not at dinner. We need to talk. Now. Rebecca's eyes flicked to Vivian. I see you didn't take my advice. You had no right, Damien said, his voice tight with controlled fury. No right to investigate her, to threaten her, to try to buy her off. I was protecting you. From what? From being happy? From finding someone genuine? He stepped closer to his sister. I've spent my entire life living up to other people's expectations. Building the company father wanted, maintaining the image you wanted, dating the women you approved of, and I was miserable. Every single day, Rebecca's perfect facade cracked slightly. Damien, I'm done. Rebecca. Done letting you control my life. Done apologizing for wanting something real. Took Vivian's hand. She makes me feel human again. And if you can't accept that, then we have nothing more to say. Silence stretched between the siblings. Finally, Rebecca's shoulders sagged slightly. I was afraid, she admitted quietly. Afraid you'd get hurt. Afraid someone would use you the way people have tried to use us our entire lives. Then trust me to know the difference. Rebecca looked at Vivian, really looked at her for the first time. Can you love him without the money? Without the name? Because that's what it might come down to. Our world doesn't forgive people who marry outside their class. Vivian met her gaze steadily. I don't know if I love him yet. I barely know him. But I know I see him as a person, not a bank account. And if that's not enough for your world, then maybe your world is the problem, not me. Something shifted in Rebecca's expression. Not approval, but perhaps the beginning of respect. Keep her humble, Damien. God knows you need someone who will. 6 months later, the small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn was a far cry from the penthouse where they met. Red checkered tablecloths, candles stuck in wine bottles, and the smell of fresh garlic bread filled the air. Vivian and Damien sat across from each other, plates half-eaten, hands intertwined on the table. I got the job offer today, Vivian said, eyes bright. Senior accountant at Morrison & Associates. It's everything I've been working toward. That's incredible. Damien squeezed her hand. When do you start? 2 weeks. Which means I have to give notice at the hotel. She paused. Are you sure about this? About us? Your world and mine are so different. I've never been more sure of anything. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Vivian's breath caught. I'm not asking you to marry me, Damien said quickly. Not yet. But this is a promise. He opened the box to reveal a simple silver band with a single small diamond. A promise that I see you, that I choose you, and that I'll spend every day proving you made the right choice in taking a chance on an arrogant millionaire who had no idea what he was missing until you walked into his life. Tears streamed down Vivian's face as he slipped the ring onto her right hand. I choose you too, every day. They kissed across the table, two people from different worlds who had found something neither expected. Not perfection, but something real. And in the end, that was worth more than all the money in the world. Outside, the city hummed with life, full of other stories beginning and ending. But in that moment, in that small restaurant in Brooklyn, Vivian Clark and Damien Hartwell had everything they needed. Each other. And the courage to build something new together, one day at a time.